Good morning, United Nations. I'm Jeff, and my partner in our NGO, Ryan, would like to share our concern about electronics and their impact on the environment. We feel that we should stop pouring our electronic waste into developing countries and to innovate a more sustainable way of recycling and reducing our electronic waste.
Probably one of the most widely used resources we have today are electronics. People around the world use these electronics, and there are many different electronics, ranging from cameras to computers to iPods to gaming devices. In the modern world we live in today, people use electronics for communication, business, education, and fun. People need electronics for business and communication. People want them for fun.
During the production phase, workers at factories around the world assemble electronics and add some toxins in the material so that they can be safe. But there are other ways for computers to be safe. During distribution phase, the electronics are designed for the dump so people can keep buying new ones as companies have made planned obsolescence. During the consumption phase, people buy products and then use the product for a year or however long the electronic lasts.
IBM data revealed its workers that worked with the chip had 40% more miscarriages than a regular person and had a 40% chance of dying of blood and brain cancer than a regular person. 17 million televisions were either in a landfill or sent to landfill in 2008, and by 2010 there'll be 716 million new computers in use around the world. Electronic waste also accounts for 70% of toxic chemicals found in landfills.
After we are done using our electronics, we dispose them and they are taken to China where the people there recycle them. While the people in China are working and recycling these electronics, the harmful toxins get released into the soil, water, and sometimes the air. That's why the water is no longer drinkable and the air is sometimes not breathable. When the toxins enter the soil, the poultry eats the agriculture which is grown on the soil, and then the humans eat the poultry, so then the humans become sick and prone of diet as the accumulations of toxins are built through the food web. When the toxins enter the water and the plankton eats it, and then Chinese mystery snails eat it, and then the food chain goes on and on until the humans eat it and become ill.
There are many alternatives to this growing issue, but here is one. One of the most recent designs of an eco-friendly computer was released by Dell, as they showed off a never-before-seen eco-inspired computer. Dell said the computer was 81% smaller than a standard computer and used 70% less energy. The computer is filled with recycled materials like old bottles, milk jugs, and detergent cases, while the computer is encased with bamboo. Other companies like Apple have tried to lower their carbon footprint by making their electronics more eco-friendly. People in China are working together to recycle electronics, but are risking their health. Some of the activities they are doing are acid leaching electronic boards to recover metals, making electronic boards on open fires to remove different parts more easily, open burning of materials which do not have any leftover value, and burning cable wire to extract copper. What does not make sense to me is that people there are using 17th century methods to recycle 21st century technology.
If we want to change and help reduce our electronic waste impact on our environment, we must start to enforce laws which have a recycling policy and to educate people and our youth about recycling properly. Government should also start to take back laws so that companies will stop making products with planned obsolescence, and when products break, you have to return them to the company that you bought it from. Government and companies should also take care of their own waste instead of dumping it onto other developing countries. When we educate our people about how to recycle properly, they will probably make more wise decisions on how to dispose their waste. We must also start to enforce laws which have a recycling policy, so then people will recycle properly instead of giving their electronic waste to a recycling company which dumps their electronic waste into somebody else's habitat. And then the environment gets poisoned from all the toxins and chemicals. Nations must also enforce laws so that the electronic breaks and you must return them to the company that you got it from, and they will specifically fix that part instead of changing the whole computer part. These modifications will reduce the amount of resources we extract from ecosystem to one type of toxin to a poison of a population, and which population gone a whole food chain and ecosystem could collapse.
ISM has just bought a new server for $100,000, but at first Mr. Toast did not want to buy it, until Mr. Van Riepen, head of IT at ISM, gave him some facts. Buying a new server would lower ISM's carbon footprint by 70%, and within the next 5 years of buying the server, it would have saved ISM $100,000 on its electricity bill. So this server basically would have paid for itself.
Before we heard about this environmental issue, we never realized how much electronics could impact the environment. This issue is only getting bigger and bigger, and people have to start realizing where their electronics go and how it affects not only the environment but also people. So this issue is targeting the environment, people, and animals. The current way we are disposing and recycling our electronics must change, as people are suffering from a job they have to do to keep their family financially sound. In EU, China, 80% of the families living there are engaged in recycling electronic waste and are working with toxins and animals. People should not be making these terrible decisions to risk their lives for them to get money, as this is a violation of human rights. We need to use more sustainable ways to get rid of electronic waste, and companies have to stop designing their products for the dump, as that is half the reason why we have so much electronic waste.
75% of 3 million computers bought in Australia every year will end up in a landfill. In 2007-2008, 16.8 million computers reached the end of their life. Of this, only 9% will be recycled. Every year, people make 25 million tons of e-waste, which are eventually dumped, burned, or recycled.
It is important to have a sustainable economic development because it lets the consumers know what they are consuming and what they are doing to help the environment. It also might help the profit of the company because they are saying that their products are eco-friendly and that they are going to keep the product eco-friendly, and this might lure consumers into buying their products. Alexander Lin is 13 years old and already has built recycled computers with work. More than 300 computers have been built again and he has sent it to local students. 7 media centers have been established in the United States, Sri Lanka, Mexico, Cameroon, Kenya, and the Philippines. Apple has also reduced its carbon footprint by using smaller packaging and forest products and taking harmful toxins and chemicals out of its products. Amazingly, Apple's revenue went up as well since they started stepping up their carbon.